Welcome to He Changed the World from Forest Baptist Church, a series of talks about Jesus Christ from Mark's Gospel, recorded by me, David Last. Talk number 39, A Different Attitude. Mark chapter 10, verse 32 through to verse 45. The thought of death can be hard to handle. When others die, grief may overwhelm us. Facing our own death may terrify us. Now, not always, of course. Some are in such pain or emptiness or distress that they welcome the idea of dying. Others feel they've had a full life and are ready to finish the race now. But not all of us find it so easy. Jesus accepted that he would die young. In his early 30s, he looked his own death in the eye and embraced it, not as something far off in the long-distant future, but close at hand. And in our true story from Mark's Gospel, he processes this in public. He speaks with his friends about how his death will take him, what it means, and the attitude he takes to all this. And what he says is refreshingly different to what you often hear. Jesus and his team are on their way to Jerusalem, the capital city of his homeland, Judea. The journey has a suicidal edge. Jesus has some powerful opponents in the city who are only too ready to kill him, to murder him. But he knows it, isn't scared, and speaks plainly about it. His enemies will get him, they will torture him, and they will kill him. It will happen. He's on a dead man's walk. However, he's confident in the face of such horror. Why? He says to his friends, God will raise me from the dead after only 3 days. Unsurprisingly, his friends don't understand what he's driving at. In fact, 2 of them get it completely wrong. They think he's talking about becoming some sort of heavenly figure. You see, previously, they saw something like that when Jesus spoke with 2 long-dead men called Moses and Elijah. And then they heard the voice of God. Now, they don't know, his 2 friends, they don't know what this means for Jesus. But surely it means glory. And, well, they'd like to have some of that. So can they be his deputies? Now, at which point Jesus switches tone. He moves from confidence about his death to a stark warning. These guys really don't get it. When he says he's going to die, he means it. And not just any old death. My death, he says to them, will be a baptism. It's going to feel like I'm drowning. My death, he says, will be a poisoned cup to be drunk. I'm going to suffer. The language is weird, and probably another thing that his friends, James and John, don't grasp. Which means they ought really to ask, sorry, what do you mean? How will it be a baptism? What's this cup? If they had, then they'd have heard something truly solemn. You see, Jesus' language is based on symbolism from the Bible, and he is describing his death as a sacrifice. He will die for the sin, for the wrongdoing, the wickedness of others. He will die facing God's anger against this sin. He will die to save those who can't save themselves from judgment. No one, however, asks for clarification. No one asks what Jesus means by baptism and cup. Instead, James and John's request kicks off an argument amongst the whole group. Rivalry and envy rear their ugly heads as others in the team resent this duo trying to get some special place with Jesus. Who do they think they are? But Jesus steps in. Why don't his team listen to him? His death will be a sacrifice for others. He will die to rescue others. He will give himself completely to the service of others. Given that's what it's about, given that's what's about to happen, why are they bickering about personal honour and personal gain? He's talking about loving others to the extreme. They're talking about loving themselves. He's talking about selflessness. They're talking about selfishness. What a group they are. But wouldn't we be the same? Think again, says Jesus. Take a new attitude to your life. Do not keep asking, what can I get out of life? What can I have before I die? Rather ask, what can I give before I die? What can others get out of me? Such an attitude is what drives Jesus. He will give up anything in order to bring good to others, even his life. Jesus says to his team, think differently and gain a better life. Think differently, or you've no place with me. What do you think? When would you be willing to die for another? Now, maybe you do it for someone you love deeply, a partner or a child. Maybe you would die for a principle you cherish, freedom from tyranny. But it's a very limited range of options which might make you willing to die in this way, isn't it? But what if Jesus is right? That with him, there's a new way to think about death, because to him, God promises that death isn't the end. What do you think? Thanks for watching this video. The words from Mark will be read out next, so stay and listen, and then think about them and pray too. And I hope you'll also return for the next video.
Mark chapter 10, verse 32 to 45. They were on their way up to Jerusalem with Jesus leading the way, and the disciples were astonished, while those who followed were afraid. Again he took the 12 aside and told them what was going to happen to him. We are going up to Jerusalem, he said, and the Son of Man will be betrayed to the chief priests and teachers of the law. They will condemn him to death and will hand him over to the Gentiles, who will mock him, spit on him, flog him and kill him. 3 days later he will rise. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. What do you want me to do for you? He asked. They replied, let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory. You don't know what you are asking, Jesus said. Can you drink the cup I drink, or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? We can, they answered. Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup I drink, and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. Those places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Jesus called them together and said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man, who did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many.